She said her parents were bankrupt, but a week later I saw them signing papers for a second property, in my name. The night it all came apart, the house was silent. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that hums with absence, with a vacuum where love should have been. Her suitcase was still by the door, half open, empty. I didn't even hear her leave. The wine bottle she opened for our anniversary dinner stood untouched on the table. 2 glasses, one with lipstick, one without. My phone buzzed. One message. You always wanted a family. I just gave you one. Then, silence. Her number, blocked. Her accounts, gone. And the house? Technically still mine. Technically. I stood in the living room, lights off, watching the security feed loop back the moment she walked out. No hesitation. She even smiled to the camera. A long, lazy smile, like she'd just won something. I didn't move, just watched, over and over. Her steps, the look, the pull of the door, a single glance back, that smile again. Downstairs, I heard the garage open, then close. No engine sound. That wasn't her. I grabbed my keys. Instinct. The car was still there, but the boxes weren't. I opened the trunk. My documents, my ledgers, the cash box I kept for emergencies. Gone. Files on 2 major deals, bank statements, even the folder marked prenup. Gone. I'd locked those away. I was sure. My chest didn't tighten. My pulse didn't race, but something inside me shifted. Not fear, not rage, a cold clarity. She never cared. The calls I made that night weren't to her, they were to my bank, my lawyer, my assistant, my security contractor. Freeze everything, I said. Every joint account, every access point. One of them asked, "Is this a separation?" "No," I said. "This is war." I began to think back. When did it all begin? I started thinking back. When did it all begin? There was no single moment, no obvious red flag, just a slow drip of things that didn't sit right, but I ignored, like the first time she suggested merging our accounts. "It's just easier," she said, brushing her hand against mine, smiling like it was the most innocent thing in the world. And maybe it was, then. But now, I remembered her exact words. If something ever happened to you, I'd want to make sure I could keep things running. That sentence hit different now. The next morning, I sat in my office and pulled up every financial move from the past 12 months. Transfers, permissions, shared credit. I stared at the spreadsheet as if it could confess. My assistant Jordan knocked once and stepped in. "You okay?" I nodded. "Lieutenant." He looked at the numbers on my screen. "You think she was planning this?" I didn't answer. Instead, I opened our home security app and pulled footage from 3 weeks ago, the night I was out of town. She had guests, her cousin and aunt. They left with bags, no hug goodbye, no smiles, straight to the garage. I zoomed in on one frame. Her aunt held the cash box. Her cousin carried my safe. Not a cousin, not an aunt. She lied about them, every time. I replayed the footage until Jordan said, "That's not her family, is it?" I clicked pause. "No," I said. "It's her crew." That night, I drove to her parents' house, not to confront, just to observe. Their porch light was on. The place looked new, fresh paint, new windows, a second-hand SUV that hadn't been there before. Her father, the man who told me with tears in his eyes that he'd lost everything, was in the driveway with a glass of scotch, laughing into a phone. He never looked broken. Inside the window, her mother showed something on her laptop to a woman. Not family, I was sure. Probably a broker. Documents were spread across the table. I stayed in the car, just watched. One of the neighbors walked by. I rolled down the window and nodded. "You here for the party?" the man asked. "What party?" He pointed toward the house. "Didn't they tell you? They're celebrating. Said something about a fresh start. Nice folks. I just nodded. As the neighbor walked off, I felt something inside me twist. Not pain, recognition. It was never about love. It was business. I drove home without the radio, without thinking, just her voice in my head looping, "I just want us to be a team." I should have asked, who's the us she meant? I pulled into the garage, lights still off, and in that moment, I knew I'd been watching the wrong people too long. Time to start watching her. The next morning, I made coffee without sugar. It tasted like metal. I opened my laptop, logged into our joint accounts, the ones I hadn't frozen yet, and quietly set withdrawal alerts. I mirrored her phone's cloud backups, using an old script I wrote back when I still cared about cybersecurity. By noon, I had access to her text messages, photos, audio notes. I told myself it was just to confirm the truth, but I already knew. Her last backup was from 3 days ago. A voice memo. "He's still so grateful. It's almost sweet." Laughter in the background, male. Another voice. "You think he suspects?" Her. "He suspects nothing. He still thinks I'm the lucky one." I paused it there. Let silence bleed through the room. Then I called Lisa, an old friend from college, now a real estate attorney. She'd once told me, "If you ever get married, call me before you do anything dumb." I didn't call before. I was calling now. "Lisa, I need to know what I'm legally responsible for, and what I can unwind." She didn't ask questions. "Send me everything." I did. That night I staged my first small strike. I went back to her parents' house, this time in daylight. Walked right up to the door with a smile. Her father answered. "Hey," I said, casual. "Is Megan home?" He froze. "She's not here." I nodded, pretending not to notice the hesitation. "Mind if I wait inside? Just had a few things to drop off?" He looked behind him. I saw her mother step quickly out of view. "Nah," he said. "She's probably on her way to you." I smiled wider. "That's strange. She said she'd be here all day." He didn't know how to respond. I held his stare long enough to make him shift his weight. Then I handed him an envelope. "What's this?" he asked. "Preliminary financial reconciliation," I said, "courtesy of my lawyer." Inside, a letter from Lisa stating clearly that any transfer of assets made under false pretenses, including emotional manipulation or strategic misrepresentation, could be grounds for fraud. His face paled. I turned to go. "Tell Megan to check her inbox." On the drive back, I didn't feel triumph, just confirmation. At home, Jordan had compiled a list of properties, shell companies, and odd financial flows tied to Megan's name and her family's. "She's not working alone," he said. "I know." "You want me to dig?" "Number, I want you to let them think I'm not." He frowned. "Let them move," I said. "Let them get confident." He nodded slowly. "And then?" I looked him dead in the eyes. "Then we cut the floor out from under them." I made a mistake. I let them move too far. I let myself believe I was ahead, that I had control. But predators don't play defense. They sink their teeth when you blink. One Thursday morning, I walked into my own office building and my keycard didn't work. Security let me in, awkward, apologetic, but something was off. My name was still on the wall, my degrees still framed, but people avoided eye contact. Jordan wasn't at his desk. His computer was gone. His inbox, deactivated. I called him, no answer. Then I saw it, an email sent from my own account, to our board, to our investors. Subject, change in leadership. Attached was a motion, co-signed by Megan, citing a temporary cognitive decline and recommending I take a sabbatical, effective immediately. My chest finally clenched. I stormed into the conference room. 4 of them were already there, no surprise on their faces. One woman stood when she saw me. "Let's sit," she said gently. "I'm not going anywhere." She pushed a folder across the table. "Your wife submitted medical documentation. She said you've been under psychiatric care." I laughed. Couldn't help it. She fabricated this. The man next to her tapped the folder. "Then prove it." I looked at the signatures. I recognized the doctor. He was real. Megan's family friend, psychiatrist. My stomach turned. This wasn't about money anymore. This was about erasing me. I walked out without another word. Back in the car, I called Lisa. "She's trying to prove mental incompetence," I said. "She wants the company." Lisa swore under her breath. "We can challenge it, but this will get ugly." "I'm counting on it." That night, I sat in the dark. My living room felt smaller now, tighter, like the walls had moved. I turned on the TV just for noise, but then I saw it. A local news segment. Entrepreneur and investor, my name, is rumored to be stepping back from operations, citing personal and medical reasons. There was footage. Me walking out of my building, looking shell-shocked. Narrative rewritten. I stared at the screen, unable to move. Then I heard the door open behind me. Megan. She walked in like she still lived there. No suitcase, no apology. She sat across from me, calm, legs crossed. "You should have let it go," she said. I didn't answer. She looked around, like inspecting property. "This could have been easier. You just had to trust me." I studied her face. No fear, just control. "What do you want?" She smiled. "What I'm already getting. Half." Pause. "Unless, of course, you'd prefer scandal, lawsuits, mental evaluations. You'd be surprised how fast respect evaporates." Her voice was soft, measured, practiced. She leaned in. "You built this life alone, and now you'll lose it. Alone." I didn't flinch, didn't move, but I felt something crack inside, not break, shift. A part of me, old, naive, finally died. And what was left? Not rage, not grief, strategy. When she left, I didn't follow. Instead, I poured a glass of the untouched wine from our anniversary. And I drank to the truth. She didn't just betray me, she underestimated me. The next morning, I didn't call Lisa. I didn't call Jordan. I drove 2 hours north to a name I hadn't said in years, Elena Voss. She used to run compliance for one of my old tech ventures, sharp as glass. Left the corporate world to work in government investigations, white-collar crime. The kind of woman who didn't blink at million-dollar fraud. I found her in a small office above a bail bonds place, sipping black coffee and reading a patent lawsuit like it was morning gossip. "Elena," I said. She looked up. "Jesus, you look like hell." "I need help." She raised an eyebrow. "Is this a protect assets kind of help or a burn them all kind of help?" I didn't smile. "Both." She listened for 20 minutes, never interrupted. Just nodded slowly, tapping her pen against a notepad. When I finished, she leaned back and exhaled through her nose. "This isn't a scam," she said. "It's a network." I frowned. "What do you mean?" She pointed to the pattern. Fake psychiatric evaluations, asset redirection, marital leverage. "They're not just bleeding you dry, they're replicating this with others. You're not the first. You won't be the last." That hit harder than I expected. It wasn't personal, it was systemic. "You still have contacts?" I asked. "I do." "Then let's get to work." Back in my office, the one I'd been pushed out of, I accessed an old backup server Jordan had mirrored off-site. I searched through archived call logs, shared folders, Slack messages. Then I found it. A PDF, buried under a file called Recipes Megan. Nothing suspicious. But inside, a contract template, pre-filled, with multiple male names, different dates, different addresses. The wording was identical to mine, identical to what I signed when she moved in. I forwarded it to Elena. She called me 2 minutes later. "This is a blueprint," she said. "They've done this before. At least 5 times. Maybe more." And no one stopped them? Because the victims don't talk, or they think it's their fault. I gripped the phone tighter. Not this time. Later that night, I met with Lisa and Elena in a closed cafe, after hours. We drew up a counter-strategy. Lisa would initiate a motion to freeze all disputed marital assets. Elena would feed the documents to an investigative contact, anonymously. "This goes beyond personal," I said. "They're exploiting the law itself." Elena nodded. "And we're going to use it to end them." Lisa looked at me carefully. "You sure you're ready for what comes next?" I didn't hesitate. "I'm not here to survive them," I said. "I'm here to expose them." For the first time in weeks, the silence around me didn't feel suffocating. It felt strategic, focused, and this time, I wasn't alone. The invitation came 2 days later, a charity gala hosted by one of our shared acquaintances, a real estate mogul who adored Megan. She'd be there. So would her parents. The kind of event where smiles were masks and handshakes were daggers. I RSP'd. Yes. Lisa insisted on coming as my +1. "If this goes south, someone needs to pull you out." I adjusted my cufflinks in the mirror. Navy suit, clean shave, calm pulse. I wasn't walking into a social function. I was walking into a battlefield. The venue was a restored art museum, all glass and stone. The crowd was dressed in money, old and new. I spotted Megan near the bar, laughing, radiant, flanked by her parents and 2 men I didn't recognize. Lisa whispered, "Those guys, legal or laundering?" "Both," I said. We waited an hour. I made small talk, thanked donors, smiled at people who thought I was on sabbatical. Megan saw me. She blinked once, surprised, then composed. She approached with a glass of champagne. "I didn't expect to see you here." I took the glass. Didn't drink. "Wouldn't miss it. After all, we built half the auction items together." She leaned in, voice low. "This isn't the place." "Exactly," I said. "Too many witnesses." She narrowed her eyes. I turned to her father. "Bill, love the new Porsche. How's it handle in rain?" He froze. "What? Or was that Megan's? Hard to keep track with so many accounts open." Megan grabbed my arm. "Let's talk, privately." Lisa stepped closer. "Actually, I think we're fine right here." I pulled out my phone, pressed play on a short recording. It was Megan's voice. "He suspects nothing. He still thinks I'm the lucky one." The crowd near us shifted, subtle but present. Megan's smile cracked. "You wouldn't—" I cut her off. "Relax, just a reminder." Then I walked away, didn't look back. Outside, Elena was waiting in a black sedan. She handed me a flash drive. All 5 victims, timeline, evidence, accounts. It's all there. I nodded. "And the reporter?" "Interview set for Tuesday. Anonymous source, but thorough." I exhaled. Lisa looked over. "You ready to finish this?" I met her eyes. "Number, I'm ready to outlive it." Back at my place, we poured wine. No toasts, just silence. I felt different. Not clean, not healed, but clear. "I thought I wanted revenge," I said. "But now, I want accountability." Lisa nodded. "You're not the same man who called me 3 weeks ago." "I know." And I didn't mourn that. That man had built an empire. This one would protect it, on his terms. The courthouse was colder than I remembered. Not the temperature, the atmosphere. Like the walls had absorbed the weight of thousands of stories, broken contracts, broken promises. I sat at the plaintiff's table, Lisa beside me, Elena in the back row, face unreadable. Megan entered late. She wore white, as if that could rewrite anything. Behind her, her parents, confident, dismissive. Her father winked at someone in the gallery. The judge called order. The room quieted. Lisa stood. Your Honor, we submit evidence of a coordinated fraud scheme targeting the plaintiff and at least 5 other individuals through fabricated relationships and coerced financial consolidation. The judge raised an eyebrow. You're suggesting this marriage was fraudulent from inception? Yes, Your Honor. Megan stood before the judge could respond. Your Honor, this is retaliation. My husband couldn't handle the separation. Now he's turning heartbreak into conspiracy. The judge motioned for silence. Then I stood. I have recordings, documents, transaction histories, witness testimonies. I didn't come here to punish her. Pause. I came to stop her from doing this again. A murmur spread through the courtroom. Elena stepped forward with a sealed folder. With permission, Your Honor, I represent federal interests. This family's financial trail overlaps with 3 active cases of interstate fraud. Megan's mother went pale. Her father stood. This is harassment. The judge slammed the gavel once. You'll sit down, Mr. Conway. The prosecutor arrived minutes later. He entered with 2 federal agents and a thick file. Megan turned slowly, saw them. For the first time, her mask cracked. Not rage, not arrogance. Fear. She whispered to her attorney. He leaned in, nodded grimly, then raised his hand. We request a recess. My client is willing to cooperate. Too late. The judge nodded toward the bailiff. Megan's voice trembled. You don't need to do this. I looked at her. I didn't. She did. Outside, the crowd had already formed. Reporters, cameras, curious bystanders. Megan was led out in cuffs. Her parents followed, arguing, shouting legal threats that echoed off the marble. I didn't stay to watch. Lisa caught up with me on the courthouse steps. You're walking away? I came to end a pattern, not to enjoy the wreckage. She smiled. You sound like someone who survived. No, I said. I sound like someone who knows what not to build again. I disappeared into the crowd. No statement, no comment, no performance. Let them talk. Let them speculate. The truth didn't need me anymore. It was already loud enough. I walked into the house one last time. Empty walls, quiet air, the faint echo of footsteps that weren't mine anymore. In the kitchen drawer, I left the wedding band, not out of sentiment, just closure. Outside, the rain had started, soft, steady. I locked the door, dropped the keys in the mailbox, walked down the driveway without looking back. Halfway down the street, I stopped, turned my face to the sky, let the rain hit. No umbrella, no rush, just me and silence.